afternoon. Welcome to the Mrs. Best Reviews channel. We are here today to do a recap with just me by myself, Mrs. Best, first. But we are here to do a live recap of the Love During Lockup, which is a part of the Love After Lockup trilogy series on Wetv. We are here to recap the first premiere episode, which is titled Jail Talk. I did not put the number of these episodes like I do my other live recaps, just because they have some weird numbers for this show because they're putting all the shows together. So it said like season 4, episode 452 or something odd like that. And we know that we're not there. So we are going to get into this newest season of Love During Lockup. So for those who are unsure, Love During Lockup is basically a reality show that was birthed from Love After Lockup. There's Love After Lockup, Life After Lockup, and Love During Lockup. So Love During Lockup is the part of it where we see the couples who are talking to inmates, actively in love for most of these couples, as they say, with inmates, and the inmates are still locked up, and sometimes for crazy amounts of time. So for this new season, we got quite a few new couples. We got Jade and Chris. We got Renika and Asante, Brittany and Karak, Savannah and Jake, Letitia and Keith, and Andy and Brittany. We're going to discuss all of these people from the first episode, with the exception of Savannah and Jake. I don't believe we saw them yet. If I missed it, be sure to comment and let me know. So we're going to start with Jade and Chris. So Jade and Chris are a couple. They did get married after just 7 months of knowing each other. Chris is the party who is locked up, and Jade is a social media influencer. So I did not look into the specific charges of these people, but I do know that Chris went down for burglary and theft and all sorts of stuff like that. So we've learned that Chris is also Native American, and Jade says that his family owns a casino and that his portion from the family earnings of the casino are about $7,000 a month. He's 32 years old, and it looks like her friend asked a good question when we see Jade around the family and things, because we noticed that he's locked up, but she has a beautiful home with a pool, which hey, I'm here for it. If you get it, you have it. She also, in addition to the home with the pool, has a camper, a bunch of other things, cars. So it looks like they're cashing her out while he's in jail, which to me, I always look at these inmates on this show with the side eye, because why and how do you have this income when you got all these restitutions to pay? Y'all must be stashing your money somewhere else. So we see pretty quickly with their dynamic that there's definitely some jealousy. And her friend asked a good question. He robbed people. How is he getting this good income? She claims it's from the casino, but I'm just like, that just seems a bit odd to have access to that. So her friends and her sisters are asking the correct questions. I personally, watching this show, love the family members and friends, because they keep it real. Like, what the hell are you doing with the inmate? What he finna do for you? But of course, they never listen. So we see that Jade is having a party of some sort. I don't remember. I'm sorry, I didn't put in my notes what the party was for, which I should have done. But we see that while she's at this party, and she's just with her sisters, a couple friends, and they're literally partying in the home. So she misses a call, maybe a few calls from Chris, and Chris does not like that. So this is where we learn early on that if she misses his call and he doesn't like that, he has the information of all of her people. He's got her friends' info and phone numbers. He's got her sisters and family members' info and phone numbers. And listen, hot mess express. This man, when she stops answering his phone calls, decides that he's going to start calling all the family members, all the friends. And her mother said to the camera privately what we were all thinking: the shit is toxic. So I'm interested to see how their dynamic goes throughout the show. I'm also curious to see if he'll even be eligible to get out during the time that they're on TV. Maybe we'll see them on Love After Lockup. I don't know. All I know is dude is bringing in quite a bit of money, and he has no issue spending it on her. They are married, but they don't know each other. I always question when people get married so soon, but I especially question it when people is coming from jail. So that is all we will discuss today for Jade and Chris. He did flip out and call everybody, which to me is hella controlling and a red flag. But then at the same time, it's like, if your person don't answer the phone and you locked up, you really don't have any other means of communicating with them. So I don't know. It just seems the way that she is and the way that he is, things are going to definitely continue to become a little bit spicy, should we say. So we're going to move it along to the next couple, which was Renika and Asante. Renika, I wish I would have uploaded the pictures that I had screenshotted when watching. When I say y'all heifers have to stop with these wigs and these baby hairs, the shit looks awful. It just does not look good. It's very simple. It does not look good. And I can't understand why anybody would want to do that to themselves. Her baby hairs were just a hot mess. I can't get over it. I can't get over it. But what we do get from Renika is she makes $20K a year from eyelash bending, and she is very proud of that. I don't want any person to feel proud of $20K a year as your only income. That is not a lot of money. That is considered low income. I'm not saying I'm rich, but you shouldn't be on here hooping and hollering about $20K a year. However, I do get her excitement just because it's like the $20K a year is from something she's doing in terms of entrepreneurship. So shout out to her for that. She does have eyelash vending machines, which stresses me out a little bit, but you know what? The beauty industry is definitely a good industry to get into, and you can make a lot of money. It's just some of y'all be looking like your lashes is ready to fly off your face like a bat wing. It stresses me out, but you know, to each his own. I guess some people are more concerned with following trends and looking good, which Renika seems to definitely give a lot of with these baby hairs and edges. She has 2 children, so this is another person who is dating an inmate. Renika is free, Asante is not. And she has 2 children that are older. She expresses to, I think it's a friend at the beauty salon where she was refilling the baby hairs and the eyelashes and all that crap. She was speaking to that friend. She also spoke to her father towards the end of the episode, who we learned her dad also did 18 years in jail. So it kind of looks like she's repeating the cycle, which some people try to call out. I did sense the energy and the dad being super apologetic and not wanting his daughter to make choices on dating based on his lack of being there for her. I mean, 18 years is a very long time, no matter how much of a parent you want to be. My dad went to jail a lot. They care, but you miss out on important things, and it's just very hard for kids to move past. So we see that Renika is struggling with that. Now, Asante is in a correctional facility that is in Georgia. I believe Renika is in Louisville, Kentucky. So it's a little bit of a distance, different states, definitely. She wants to uproot the life of her children and move her and her 2 kids to Atlanta to be there for this boy. I say this boy because they both gave me young-minded individually, and I feel like as a couple, they're going to be a disaster based on some of when they show the scenes from the upcoming season, what we're going to get. I definitely think they're going to have problems. I just struggle to understand and respect the women who come on this show when they have kids. Like, if you have kids, your duty is to protect them. I don't know why people think that they have kids and that makes them smarter or makes them responsible people or people who should have had them. No, you spread it wide, you got pregnant. That doesn't mean you should be a mother or a father, whoever you are. So I definitely get that sense from Renika. I just hope that she doesn't move everything and just uproot her life to be in Atlanta and, struggling. But Atlanta is a good place for entrepreneurs, so maybe she will do good. The last thing I'll say on her, she definitely has daddy issues, and I definitely think that her daddy issues are the cause of her dating Asante. It's just a hot mess. But shout out to Renika, because I did listen to some of her raps, and she can rap. She's very talented. So hopefully she has success in that. So we're going to move it along. This will be a quick recap, y'all, because it's just me by myself and it's only a premiere episode. So we're going to move it along to the next couple, which is Brittany and Karak. So Brittany and Karak are interesting. They are the youngest people on this show. She is 22 and Karak is 25. They both met in prison. How many people outside of myself, it took me looking at the Love After Lockup Facebook group to see like, well, you were in the same prison. So why are we surprised that you are a person who is transitioning? So Karak was born a female, but is transitioning to male, is taking testosterone. Karak is still behind bars, but Brittany and Karak did meet while locked up in the same facility together. To me, it's dumb as hell to be talking about that because I believe that is a crime. And I believe she's in California. And I believe that is a crime in California to be hooking up with people while in jail. But I guess she figures because she's out that it's okay, but he's not out. So maybe be quiet about that. But that's their story. That's what makes them interesting. So Brittany is a young girl. She's also a pretty girl, noticeably. She did go to jail for armed robbery. So she is supporting her boo, but she herself has only been free from being in prison for 6 months. She went down for armed robbery, I believe, for 18 months. And that equates to, no, she went down at 18 and she did 3 years in prison for armed robbery. And her explanation of it was just ghetto in all the best ways. I like getting money. So you feel me? I set up a robbery. I'm like, oh Lord, here we go with this foolery. So I could kind of tell with Brittany that like going to jail like gave her a false sense of being hard and all of that. But I'm just like, girl, you waste a lot of your time. She is a student, a cosmetology student. She's trying to explain to her peers at cosmetology school what the hell goes on with her relationship, because you're only 22 and you're talking about you're in love with this person you met in jail and you're going to be together forever. How many of us people who are over the age of 30 have heard or said that when we were younger? Oh, I'm going to be with him forever. I'm going to hold him down. I'm going to stick beside him. At 22, you have no idea if you're going to be with someone forever. I was with my husband at 22 and I didn't even fucking know if I was going to be with him forever. Now I feel a little better about it. But back then, you just have no clue when you're that young. So what she says that concerned me is that she would not have her current success if it were not for Karak. I just don't quite think you should ever equate your success to your spouse or someone else. Yeah, they may support you and help you through, but don't equate all of your success that you have attained as to being someone who's locked up, part. No, you're free. He's not. So that means that your success is based on you. They're not doing this hair at that beauty school. You are. So she definitely is just a girl that's hella young. I don't think we could really be too hard on her. I don't expect them to last just because they met in jail, and that usually doesn't happen. And they look familiar. I feel like I saw her on a documentary on one of these damn streaming apps for jail for California, because I remember seeing her, and I believe she was one of the girls talking to all types of people. So this is also Brittany's first time dating someone who is transgender. She seems okay with it. She did receive a promise ring from her spouse while they were locked up. Karak has a couple months before he gets out, and we learn the most interesting thing. After she talks about a promise ring, this heifer goes on to say that Karak has sugar mamas, and that's how he paid for her promise ring and pays for and supports her through a lot of stuff. She says she don't care about the sugar mamas because the money is coming to her. These are the statements that immature people make. And she's only 22, so you don't expect the most maturity, especially with the new generation of 22-year-olds. They think they know a lot, but they know much less, I think, than 22-year-olds in the past generation. So I don't know. All we could say on Brittany and Karak is she's young, he's young. He's dealing with the transition, which is a sensitive time mentally and psychologically for people, because that's a big deal to go through that. You don't know who's going to accept you. You don't know who's going to be okay with that. So we definitely support Karak in your transitioning journey. However, we want to know where all this money and stuff is coming from. Something ain't right. Some don't make sense, and then eventually come out. But I do hope, because they're both so young, that they learn from their mistake of jail. But it's love during lockup, y'all. So this show is the Hot Mess Express. We don't know what we'll see. So we're gonna move on to the next couple, which would have been Savannah and Jake, but we did not get anything from them yet. But I'm sure that we will be discussing them on the next recap. I am not sure what days I'll be doing these recaps, but I am going to figure it on out for you beautiful thugs. So we're going to move it along to Letitia and Keith, the next couple. Letitia has 2 daughters as well. And I'll say this again. I am so irritated with these mothers and fathers, just parents in general, coming on this show acting like they're the most responsible people and have shit to be proud of, careening their love through the streets of Wetv. And I'm just thinking to myself, you look fucking stupid to go seek out a man in jail knowing you have daughters specifically. I just feel like with small kids, but especially daughters, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm not saying you're a bad mother, but you've made bad decisions relating to your children. So Letitia and Keith's story is interesting. She is a businesswoman. She runs a tax service. Her spouse, her husband, this is another person who's actually married to the person they hold it down in lockup. He is in FCI in Colorado, which is, I believe, a hugely secured prison. I do know that it is federal. I do know that it is federal, and you don't go there unless you fucked up. The only reason I know about FCI is because they've housed serial killers and shit. And y'all know I'm a crazy thug that's obsessed with serial killers and true crime in general and all of that. And I'm just like, you're proud of this and brought this around your child? Like, I don't get it. So we see that Letitia's dumbass is excited when, what do you like about Keith? I love that he got gold teeth. Oh my God, his gold teeth. If you have gold teeth, that means you couldn't afford the correct crown to match the color of the rest of the teeth in your mouth at the dentist, or you somebody that needs to grow the hell up. Gold teeth to me means bad dentistry. I'm not saying I have the best dentistry myself. My teeth are just, regular. But gold teeth at that big age, these people are grown. I don't think that's too cute. I just, grills in the mouth, gold teeth, no. Like big chains, no thank you. Go invest that money somewhere. Why the fuck are you smiling at me with some gold teeth from behind a bar and through Globaltel links or Securus or whatever the hell they use in other states? Stupid. You have a criminal around your children because you liked how shiny his teeth were. But she runs a tax service. But for what I heard, she said, click e-file. Click e-file sounds like she has a tax service that uses the software that does everything for you. She's not actually doing the taxes herself, allegedly. That's what it looked like. Either way, I think Black-owned businesses are something that are wonderful and we need to see more of, especially in the lane of taxes and financials. So I'm okay with that. Now, here's where the problem came in with this heifer. She tells her employees that he's going to be their boss soon and that he's going to be running shit from behind jail. How he's going to be running and helping her to run a tax service behind bars, I don't know. The other thing that this woman did not think is, why would anybody who's watching your business on television, because you're on WeTV, lots of people watch this show. So you would think as a business owner that this is an opportunity to showcase and get your business out there. So you think that showing that a criminal locked in a federal facility, that means you really fucked up if the feds is after you. You really found that to be smart to have him running a tax service as a customer of tax services, not hers, because I'm not stupid. But as a customer of tax services, I have used them before. I don't want nobody having my social security, address, financials, all those sensitive parts of the paperwork that goes into taxes. I don't want nobody who is a criminal knowing those things, because you never know. He may be changed, but if he falls on hard times, he may do what he has to do. Because what we forget is that these people commit crimes because usually they were backed into a corner or struggling from addiction. They either want to escape poverty or keep up with the drugs. So I just don't think, Letitia, that it is smart to have a man that you have not known for very long, whether you're married or not, to be running a tax business. Hell, it's not smart to have him around your kids so fast, but that is what she says. So she lets her employees know of this, and the employees are not happy about it, as they should not be. Now, I live in the state of California, so there are a lot of labor and workforce laws that are in play here in California. If your supervisor comes to you in California and says, my husband's going to be running shit from behind bars. If you don't like it, you can go. You can sue them for making your workplace uncomfortable. You can sue them for harassment. You can sue them for prejudices, all types of shit, just off of her saying a statement like that. But obviously, she's not in California. She's obviously not here. Now, the other thing we find out later towards the episode, after we see the other couples, they come back to Letitia and Keith, and we see they're going to dinner with her staff because she knows, this heifer knows she pissed them off. And she did it in a disrespectful way. Even though it's a dumb decision, she could have told her staff in a respectful way, like, look, like, I love him. I want to give him an opportunity to get out of a life of crime, and I'm going to do that by allowing him to work with us in this business. But you can't tell people that somebody that's been locked away from society for years is going to help tell them something about the current tax laws and standards and all of that. The hell? I'll be damned as a regular person if somebody writes me up at work who can't even do it in person because they're locked up behind a cell. That doesn't make any fucking sense. But Letitia obviously is lacking a few screws. You know, the lights are on, but no one's home. I can tell. Just because you can own a business does not make you intelligent. I mean, if that's the case, we wouldn't see billionaires falling and committing suicide like you know who, the Epsteins and all of them. So I think that this should be interesting to see. I do kind of hope to see her on Love After Lockup once the man is finally free. If he gets free, just because I'm curious to see how your employee's going to do with that, because it's going to be the two of you doing taxes by yourself, because don't nobody want to work with or have their personal information aligned with a criminal or available to a criminal, whether you are a potential criminal, a convicted criminal. If I suspect that you shady in the least, I don't want you knowing my social security number. Hell, I don't want you knowing my phone number, my address, none of that. That's just me. And I don't judge people for being criminals, but when it comes to your personal information, I think you should protect the shit out of it. So we're going to move it on along to the last couple, and this is Andy and Brittany. Andy and Brittany are super interesting to me just because Andy is a former cop. He was a police officer for 13 years in Georgia, a state with a high recidivism rate, which is not good. What that means is their jails, police force, the officers throughout the state of Georgia have a high reoffender rate, a low rehabilitation rate, and they're known for being racist and prejudiced and all types of stuff. As we saw with the election just a few years ago during the pandemic, there's a lot that Georgia is still working to keep up with and voting and all of that. So a cop from Georgia, that's concerning as fuck. It's just concerning. Honestly, a police officer looking for inmates, like, I don't like the police. I'm gonna just make that clear. I don't like the police. I don't trust the police. I think they offer more bad than good, but I do see the need for police, but they suck overall in all 50 states. But it is odd. I think we can all agree, regardless on how we feel about police. It is so fucking weird and strange that a police officer left his job of policing to go search on a prison pen pal website. That's weird that a cop would go towards a criminal. So we see him having a donut, which WeTV, you're not slick. It was very obvious you told them to have donuts because police and donuts. The men barely ate the damn donuts too, if y'all peep. I just thought it was funny that WeTV was like, oh, have donuts. But they go and they have donuts, this cop, who we call Andy, and he goes and has donuts with a friend who is an active cop. Now, through his conversation with his friend, we learned a little bit about his background. We learned that he left law enforcement to do transportation. It looks like trucking and things of that nature. And it looks like the reason that he left was because he had an ex that was an issue. His ex, when the marriage or whatever ended, it just became all sorts of problems. She basically ripped his life upside down, and it was due to her struggling with an addiction. So after the marriage ended, I guess he felt he needed a career change, which most people do. and he decided to go into transportation and get out of policing, whatever the hell you want to call it, law enforcement. Most of these law enforcement officers, though, need the law enforced against them because they're fucking that shit up. But that's a whole nother topic of personal opinion. So we find out that he was lonely. Andy was lonely. So the lonely cop went on the prison pen pal website. And then we find out that Brittany is an addict, just like the wife that he ended up leaving. He does have children as well. And it's just interesting. So they've only been talking for a few months. And these men, when the men are dating someone in lockup, on whether it's love after lockup, love during lockup, life after lockup, these ninjas be knowing how to cash the female out. They may as well just go to the stripper or pay for a hoe that's walking the track, because if you're going to be cashing out, he said he gave Brittany $6,000 in just a few months. What does one in jail need $6,000 for? I understand that commissary and phone calls are expensive as shit, unless you're in California, because they're now free for some jails, I believe. But why? $6,000? Hell, I'm free. And I can't think of a reason I would need $6,000 from my man in a couple of months. So I don't understand it, but he done cashed this girl out. So of course, when someone's giving you $6K behind bars, you get to eat ramen noodles and potato chips every day. So you are happy because you don't have to eat the slop. To y'all, it sounds like shit. But if you in there, you get to eat the food that they give you. You would be extremely happy to have ramen noodles and a small bag of hot chips. I'm just saying. But he gives her $6K. It's just odd. His friend is like trying to say, the cop friend, like, we're cops. Like, we don't trust criminals. Like, this is strange. Like, I'm looking out for you. Doesn't make sense. He also chose a woman addicted, just like the ex-wife. So in my opinion, Andy needs healing, a lot of healing. He's definitely seems like he's a sensitive guy. I don't believe his story fully. I think his wife is a part of the reason he got out of policing, but 13 years to just leave, I don't think that's the whole reason. So I definitely think there's more to his story, which I hope that we find out throughout the season. But moving it along to the end of the episode and Andy's part, we see that his friend decides and asks, have you run a background check on this chick? Which I run background checks on people. When I go work new jobs or in new places, especially as a manager, I'm background checking every fucking body. Sure do. We'll pay a service to look into them because I want to know who's going to trip out and who's going to be tripping and stuff. Because nowadays, you really just cannot trust everybody, and you can't be too careful. You cannot be too careful. I actually background checked a manager I had working under me, one of my department managers, years ago at a previous company back in 2018. Found out that the dude had been arrested for all types of like domestic violence and crazy issues. And he actually tried to get violent with me. I had to call the Redwood City Police to my job at the time to come and get this man away from me. And I couldn't tell my husband because my husband would have came up there tripping. He's from Oakland, so he's a little kooky and protective. But I'm like, that's a hot mess. So it's always good to do background checks. So through this background check that Andy's friend does on Brittany, we find out, please excuse me, I'm looking at my notes because I don't want to mess up. We find out that this girl has over 25 different addresses, all associated and listed to be with men that she's lived with. And they are all over the country. Now, to people who watch Love After Lockup, know people, like I have a lot of loved ones who are currently locked up in jails all over the country as well. My family's in the South, and then I have some friends in California locked up, so I get it. It happens. But to have 25 different people that you have lived with, and they're all men and around the country, and you use a prison pen pal website, which puts you with people from all over the country, it's like, girl, the Love After Lockup freaking flags in my head and bells are ding, 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 ding. She knew what the hell she was doing. And that kind of made me think maybe Andy's one of many men that she's tried to, get to trick, but he's probably the one that's given the most money. I'm sure that police retirement or whatever they get, they always get something when they leave, is definitely helping him to fund that. But it's just unfortunate. So seeing that she's lived with so many people, Still didn't give him red flags. And that just showed me he's gullible when it comes to love. You can be a cop and understand the law and the right to do the right thing, but obviously you don't fucking understand people. He's very gullible. So hopefully their situation doesn't turn out to be as bad as I was thinking that it is. But all of these couples definitely seem interesting. I don't think that half of them will last, but and I think it's too early to judge. I know personally, I can't speak for other Love After Lockup fans. I'm fucking sick of the same people on the show or the new people they try to add to the show. It's like, they're not going to work. You know that you're going to put these people or want to put these people on Love After Lockup. So it's just like, choose better cast members. Seems like they're rushing to get stuff out. I'm tired of seeing Brittany and Marcelino. I'm tired of seeing Lindsay and Blade and their fake storyline. Like, so I'm hoping that these people's storylines and things are more realistic. I can tell you this, based on Renika's wig and how that shit looked, I don't think she's acting. Because why would you go on TV like that, bro? Why? I can't understand it. Her baby hairs was worse than Erica Banks on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. But that is my recap of the first episode of Love During Lockup, which was titled Jail Talk. We will be back here every week. I'm not sure which days because I do work. I go to school. I have the song reviews. I have a lot going on. But we will be sure to get a recap to you weekly. With this, it will always be just me. Maybe sometimes the Mr. will join because he does watch with me. For those who are already subscribed to the channel, I appreciate you. Please like the video, comment your opinions. To those who are not subscribed, I appreciate you for stopping by. Feel free to like the video, comment, and I do hope that you subscribe. The next upcoming live recaps that I'll be having will be tomorrow, Tuesday, July 25th. So tomorrow we will be I will be on Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel on YouTube. It's at Watch Your Mouth Reviews 833 altogether on YouTube. And we will be discussing Bell Collective as we do weekly all the time. I'll also be on that channel to discuss the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And then tomorrow at this same time, 12 p.m., we will be back here on my channel, the Mrs. Best Reviews channels, to recap Love and Hip Hop Atlanta's latest episode. So I appreciate you all for watching. And remember, everything that I commented are just opinions that I have based on what WeTV has provided. But I am excited to be recapping the show. I enjoy it. I've been watching Love After Lockup since season 1 when they called it a social experiment. So I'm very happy to be here. I appreciate you all for subscribing. I'm finally over 300 subscribers. I hope that everybody keeps watching the B3ST brand grow. And I hope you all have the best day. Peace, love, and good energy to you all.